What's up, y'all? It's Omar, and for this video, we're going to be looking at Colossians chapter 3, verse 2, where it says, think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. So my message to you guys is, our minds are powerful, and, once we get saved, it's not really about, it's not just a foregone conclusion or, a default setting, basically, that we're just going to start thinking about heaven. And after that, it's about, growing and realizing that we have to set our minds on heaven daily, and constantly, as Colossians 3:2 says. But the illustration I want to use is the illustration of a thermometer versus a thermostat. Because if you look at a thermometer, all the thermometer does is tell you the temperature. It doesn't get to dictate what the temperature is. It doesn't get to set the temperature. And I'm saying, God gave us these minds so that we could set our mind on heaven and not of earth. But the same thing with the thermostat. Same thing with the thermometer. You can't set anything. Because sometimes we get in our minds and we think these thoughts are just coming. We can't do anything. We feel powerless. Well, if we look at the thermostat, you get to crank it up. You basically have no bounds. You get to pick not only, you get to pick the temperature, the AC, depending on, how new gen it is. You get to pick, all these different things. You have different, cycles, I think. And this is a good illustration of our minds, I think, because God gave us a thermostat so we could set our minds on heaven, and so we could do it ourselves, too. But so many people neglect all that, and they act like they're the thermometer, and they have a thermometer because instead of selecting the temperature, they're letting whatever the temperature is just be, and they're living basically by emotions and by however life treats them. So my message to you guys is you have a thermometer and a thermostat. Stop settling for a thermometer when God gave you a thermostat. Stop settling for the thermometer and start setting the thermostat.